When I get older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine birth?
Good afternoon and welcome to Berkshire Senior TV. We've got a couple different programs we're going to talk about today, but the first thing we're going to talk about is who's with us, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Bonnie DiTomaso, the Home and Community-Based Program Supervisor at Elder Services.
I'm Amanda Height. I am the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program Director at Elder Services.
And I'm John Lutz, the Executive Director of Elder Services of Berkshire County. We're going to start with Bonnie with some fun stuff. We don't get to give away things very often at Elder Services, but this time of year we do. So Bonnie's going to talk about some things that we actually give away this time of year.
So we are in the season of farmers market coupons, and we currently have issued to 23 different locations the farmers market coupons, which can be used at local farmers markets to purchase fruits and vegetables and very healthy diet items. These farmers market coupons are very popular with seniors. To be eligible, the person accessing the farmers market coupons has to be over the age of 60 or live in a location that has supportive housing such as Providence Court. And speaking of Providence Court, we were just there the other day issuing the farmers market coupons to the residents who live there, and we had quite a turnout, 37 people who were lined up to get their coupons. What's great about this program is that the coupon books, they come in books of 10, and it's worth $25. And some of the farmers markets, specifically the farmers market in Pittsfield and the farmers market in Williamstown, will double the coupons. So for $2.50, they get $5 worth of items. And the farmers market locations throughout Berkshire County also accept EBT cards. So that's a real benefit for those that are low income and can qualify for these farmers market coupons.
Just to go back to where you started, where can people get the farmers market coupons?
So the Councils on Aging in Berkshire County, there are 22 that are participating, and the people who are interested in getting these coupons can contact their local Councils on Aging. Pittsfield, Adams, Williamstown, Peru, Hinsdale, Hancock, New Ashford, and a few others that have decided to participate.
But they're being distributed at the Councils on Aging, not anywhere else. They need to call their local Council on Aging if they're interested.
That's correct. Okay. And they can contact their local Council on Aging. At that location, some of them have specific dates that they're issuing the farmers market coupons. Some are doing it over a period of time to alleviate the lines of people coming in for those farmers market coupons.
Now you said they were worth $25, but they're not like one big 25.
No.
They're in what increments?
And there are 10 coupons in each book for $2.50 each.
And if I come to you, Mr. or Mrs. Farmers Market vendor, and I give you $10 worth of coupons, and what I bought only cost $8, do I get the $2 back?
They will give you the change back in cash.
They will?
Yes. And so that's a good benefit to them. Mm-hmm. You know, if it's below a certain amount, they will give it back in cash.
Cash, okay.
Yeah.
And where do the farmers market coupons come from? We don't produce them ourselves at Elder Services,
Correct.
But where do they come from?
So they are issued from the state of Massachusetts through the nutrition program. And this is meant to outreach to the rural areas to make sure that people get the healthy eating that they need.
And I'll just clarify, when you say the state, they come from the Department of Agriculture. They use the COAs and the nutrition program to help distribute them and get them out. And you were saying who was eligible. Are there any other requirements other than age?
There are income guidelines. So for household of one, the annual income is $22,311. Monthly income is $1,860, and for a household of two, it's $30,044 or $2,504 monthly. And we get these questions all the time. Do they have to bring their tax return to get the farmers market coupons? No, they don't. There's a self-attestation on the coupon receipt that they sign, indicating that they are eligible, that they meet the guidelines.
So they're essentially declaring and saying, I am eligible, I meet these guidelines, I'm attesting to that, and that's all you need to do.
That's correct. That's correct. And we very much, through this program, follow a non-discrimination policy where everyone is eligible to get them that meets the guidelines. So there's no additional testing that needs to be done.
And do the COAs have them? Are they being distributed? Can they call today?
With the exception of one COA that is getting them today, all the others have them
Okay.
and are ready to issue.
Okay, and they can
Yes.
call. Okay, and like you said, some places they have a particular day, or they do, they have lotteries and different things. So they should call. They shouldn't just show up at the COA and say, "I want my coupons." They should really they should call ahead of time and make sure.
Right, exactly.
And are you eligible? Can you go to more than one COA to get coupons?
You are not eligible to receive coupons in multiple locations. Because the program is designed to reach a variety of people, we want to make sure that we reach as many people as possible. So if you are getting coupons at one COA, then you are attesting to the fact that you will not go elsewhere.
And there is a limited number. We don't have just an, they apportion these across the whole state, and there's not just an, we can't just say, oh, give us 10,000 coupons. There actually is a limited number.
Right. For this season, we got 1,300 books.
For all of Berkshire County?
For all of Berkshire County, correct.
And how many do you think we could give away if we had an unlimited number?
I'm sure that we could give a large amount if we could.
Right.
It depends on the community, but for the most part, there are always people who call after the coupons have been issued and said, I missed the opportunity. So we try to outreach to all the COAs. I called each one to make sure that they were interested, and there were some that didn't, that expressed interest in not doing it. But those that were interested were very interested in making sure that they had enough for all of their recipients.
And how long are they eligible for? How long are they good for?
The coupons can be issued until September 30th and can be used until October 31st.
Okay, so come 1st of November, they're no longer usable.
That's
And we
correct.
have to turn them back to the
Right.
state. Okay.
Exactly.
We're going to change gears a little bit, and we're going to talk to Amanda for a few minutes about the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. It's a
Correct.
mouthful. We usually just call it the Ombudsman Program.
Yep.
And let's start with, what is that? What is the Ombudsman Program?
A long-term care ombudsman is somebody that is an advocate for residents in a nursing home. Our program is worked with all volunteers, and once the person completes training, they are a certified ombudsman and can then go and work with the residents in the nursing homes.
And I know, and I've actually been through the training, as you have. It's not easy, but it's because it's a very important role. So maybe talk a little bit about how the training plays into the role that people are expected to play a little bit.
Volunteers go through a 3-day training. We have a person from Boston come out and do a full class. People go through trainings. You learn regulations, how to be a advocate for people. You learn, what your job is, how often you're supposed to go. And then once the 3-day class is over, those volunteers would work with myself and do 10 visits in a nursing home with myself as a supervisor, so that they learn how to talk to people, how, what they're supposed to be doing, what problems they can work on, how to approach facility staff. And that person will work with the program director until they feel comfortable. It is very intense. It's a long training period.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they're also going into an environment where they are an extension of kind of the state oversight apparatus, so to speak. I mean, that they're not employees of the Department of Public Health or EOEA, but they're part of that role of making sure that people are working and getting the appropriate services in nursing homes.
Yep, correct. We don't work for the Department of Public Health. We work for the long-term care state ombudsman. We do assist with the Department of Public Health when issues arise. Sometimes we'll look into investigations if the Department of Public Health needs to be called. Certain allegations of abuse and things like that might go on in the facility, they will call the ombudsman for. But we don't technically work for the Department of Public Health. We do not work for the state, which is a misconception. A lot of people do think that we are the state and we're not.
Right. Who are you there to advocate for?
We advocate for the residents. We are there if the residents have a problem, we're there to help them. Sometimes residents don't want to speak up for themselves to facility staff, so that's what we're there for. We hear problems ranging from the food's cold, I don't like having hamburgers every day, my thermostat is stuck at 95 degrees, little things that are easy to fix and things that might get a little more difficult as, I want to go home, my family won't let me go home, the facility won't let me go home, things like that, which may be a little bit more involved and take a little bit more time to help come to a conclusion.
So, for example, and I know you and I have talked about these kinds of cases and been involved, if you have the elder who's the resident of the nursing home and then you have a family that's surrounding them of supportive family and they don't agree, what's your role or what's the ombudsman role in that scenario?
The ombudsman role is to go with the residents' preferences. Sometimes you'll hear, oh, my mom, she doesn't do anything, she doesn't go out of her room, she just sits in her room and reads the newspaper all the time, you have to do something. So as an ombudsman, I would go in and talk to the resident and say, geez, your family's a little worried that, you're not participating in activities and you seem to be just in your room. That elder very well might enjoy staying in their room. They might not like playing bingo. They might not like arts and crafts. They're very happy sitting in their room, watching TV, reading the newspaper, and that's what they're choosing to do. That, sometimes causes a problem with family members, but our duty as ombudsman is to the resident and what the resident prefers.
And what is the ombudsman relationship to the care facility and the staff who are there, in the nursing facility?
We have a very good relationship with the staff that work in the facilities. A lot of times it might take a couple visits for them to realize we're not there to get them in trouble or cause them more work or things like that. A lot of times a facility worker will think, oh my gosh, it's the state, they're here. So it just takes a couple visits for them to get to know the person, to get to know the ombudsman that's assigned to their facility. And a lot of times the facility staff will actually seek out the ombudsman and say, geez, Mrs. Smith has a problem. I know she's been complaining for a couple days. Do you mind talking to her? We also get phone calls from the facility if they're having problems with a resident or family members or don't really know how to come across, two people correctly or figure out a problem. We'll get phone calls to see if we can help. And we like to keep that door open. Most of the facilities are very, very good about contacting us when they have issues.
And as you, because I know one of the things you want to talk about is volunteers. Mm-hmm. As you think about the job and being an ombudsman and being an ombudsman volunteer, I know we have many folks who have done it for a very long time.
Yes, we do.
I think that becomes kind of a passion for them. What if you were, if Bonnie and I were sitting here, which we are, but if we were potential volunteers for the Ombudsman program, what would you say to us to say why should people think about being Ombudsman volunteers?
I think you're right. It does take a certain kind of person to want to be an Ombudsman volunteer, and going into a nursing home is very foreign for a lot of people. A lot of people think of it as not a good place. They have preconceived notions of what nursing homes are. I don't ever want to send my mother there. I can't believe that people do this. And but to be an ombudsman, you kind of think a different way. I have people on my volunteer staff that are former nurses. I have former educators. I have a former actor. I have somebody that was a security guard. So it ranges. I think you have to have a passion for helping others. Some people have had experience with nursing homes. Either they have a loved one in there or they, worked in one. Some people I've had the experience with prospective volunteers that will go on a pre-visit with me have decided it's not for them because they either haven't had a lot of nursing home experience, or it was their first time in a nursing home, or it wasn't exactly what they thought. But I think the biggest thing is you want to help people. You enjoy talking to people. Helping people is the biggest thing that I can say. A lot of times going into a nursing home, the residents will just be happy that you stopped in to say hi. I get so often is, oh, I'm fine, but thank you so much for stopping and saying hi to me. And, those are the visits that make you want to continue going back. And that happens more often than not.
And then you've been with us now a little over a year. You came from the long-term care world. What about what you thought of Ombudsman then, and what you think? Has that changed? Is it different? Do you know more? Just you have a unique perspective in that way.
I kind of see it a little bit differently. When you work in a facility, it's a little bit difficult to help the residents the way an ombudsman helps a resident. A lot of times, I don't think there was a lot going on between the residents and the ombudsman in the building where I was. People didn't really like to complain a lot. They didn't really. I don't think the residents really knew what an ombudsman was. It's a different feeling being on the opposite side. It really is, but it's a nice feeling being able to help the residents and talk to residents and not just be there to enforce rules and things like that. It's a nice flip being on the opposite side.
Well, we're going to flip back over a little bit and give Amanda a break for a second. But Bonnie, in home and community-based services, there's two programs that you supervise that I think people probably don't quite understand. That's options counselors and benefits counselors. And I wondered if you could just talk a little bit about home and community-based services and there's lots of other things, but what the role of those people are, so to speak.
Sure. So in the home and community-based programs, we have a variety of programs that are targeted to help people remain in their home and have self-determination. One of those really important programs is the Options Counseling Program, which is, we have two options counselors, John Arthur Miller and Noelle Lang, who cover the whole county, and they work very closely with, they get referrals from nursing homes, they get referrals from family caregivers that are looking for long-term solutions for their family members. This can be my mom has been living in her own home for quite a long time. She can't take care of the house any longer. We'd like for her to be in a safer environment. And in that scenario, the options counselors would potentially discuss long-term housing options such as assisted living or subsidized housing, where in that environment the person could then have services and supports coming into play. In addition, they will help people with identifying ways to have care come into their home. If the mother wants to stay in her house, then we'll make referrals to our state home care area to allow for services and supports to come in to help the mom stay at home if that's her desire. Very often we have situations where the children think of something for their parent that the parent isn't ready to accept. And so it's a very close line that we follow, but we also very much adhere to the person-centered approach, which is it's not what I think is good for you, but what you want for you. And we work to try to keep that balance between the safety for the person that's staying at home and giving them some autonomy to be independent and remain at home. And that's our goal, is to keep people at home with the services and supports that they want. And then if there is a time when they feel that they want to go into assisted living or go into subsidized housing, then we will help them with those applications.
I know we all, when people find out you work for Elder Services, they ask and they assume everybody is an expert about everything. And I know a lot of times when people ask me, I say, well, a lot of times I think the first place to start is with an options counselor, because it's literally that. What are the options available for me my loved one, my senior, my parent, whoever. And I know that's often where I tell people, call the information referral line and just ask for an options counselor and say, I'd like to speak to someone, because they kind of have the broadest view, and then they can be the gateway maybe to state home care or meals or some other part of the agency. And I think they've been, we've only had them for a few years, but I think John Arthur Noel and that role has kind of created a new outreach opportunity where you can say, well, just call them and ask them anything. You don't have to know what you need. You just might need to know that you want some help, and let them, walk you through the process.
Right, and another part of the options counselor role is having a very close relationship with the skilled nursing facilities. For those people who may be in rehab, that are looking to come back home and need to have certain supports in play, the options counselors can work very closely with the nursing home staff to make sure that we get those services in play. And sometimes it's just having the options counselor come and talk to the person in the nursing home to make them feel that they're validated, that they have some worth, that they are they can reach out and talk about what their options are. In some cases, the decision is that they will stay in the nursing home, but having that opportunity to speak to an options counselor about what is available in terms of long-term services and supports can make a difference in their life as well, in terms of them being at ease and at peace with where they are. And also, if they're able to help that person come out of the nursing home, that just the smile on the person's face when they're in their own home and they know that they're safe is very rewarding and worth every effort of it.
Now, another area that you supervise is volunteers, which we've already talked about a little bit today, but I know you both have a need. So talk a little bit about how, if people want to volunteer with Elder Services, what can they do?
So we have a variety of different programs and different positions that people can apply for or volunteer for. It can be as little as an hour a week. It can be as much as 3 days a week. Some of our Shine counselors who are certified to talk about health insurance, we have volunteers who are coming in every day to try to help people in their community. We also have people who say, well, I work, I really can't commit that amount of time. Is there something that's a little bit less restrictive in terms of time? We have people who come in to do clerical work. It may be once a month they come in for 2 hours and stuff some envelopes, fold material, potentially do some data entry for surveys, that kind of thing. We have people who volunteer for the Ombudsman program. And a variety of other programs. We have people who do Meals on Wheels, people who go to the congregate sites and serve meals. That's a very popular volunteer opportunity for people who are retired. They want to get back into the community, and they can go every morning and help serve meals to those that are needy, and it gives people an opportunity to socialize and gives them an opportunity to give back to the community. So
you can even come and help produce a local television show if you are so moved. Now, Amanda, talk a little bit about your volunteers and kind of, what's the typical, what are they doing? How often are they doing it? What's the typical month or week or whatever for an ombudsman volunteer?
Well, each ombudsman volunteer is assigned a nursing facility here in Berkshire County. We have 15. Right now we only have 6 volunteers, so that leaves a lot of buildings uncovered that I myself have to go visit, so it makes my day very, very busy. But an ombudsman typically will visit the facility for about 2 hours a week. Some visits can be longer if you get a lot of talkers that day. Some visits could be shorter. Going after lunch sometimes, there's a lot of sleepers, so they could be quicker. The state requirement is 2 visits per month. We ask for at least 3 or 4, just to make sure that all the residents can get seen. Most of my volunteers are very, very good about doing 4. If it's a 5-month week or 5-week month, they'll go 5. But the expectation is 4. So it's about 2 hours a week, and then we do have a monthly meeting for 2 hours the beginning of the month, and volunteers are expected to be at that meeting also.
So they can, I mean, it's very flexible. It's, I mean, you have to go every week, but you can go whenever works in your schedule.
Yeah, exactly. I have some people that go on the same time every day, every week. I have some people that really switch it up. Some people, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have one volunteer that likes to go on weekends. Around meals, around not meals, activity times, just to see what's going on. It's completely up to you. It can work into really any schedule. It's fairly flexible.
And Bonnie, back to kind of volunteers in general. I know, we have volunteers that work. They come periodically, and they've helped us with stuffing envelopes. They've helped us with data entry, survey data. Folks that are like Shine volunteers that are more kind of longer term. That training is actually even longer than the ombudsman training. Once you've done that, you don't want to. You feel kind of committed to the program. But I think, at least for me, when people say, well, you guys are kind of a big agency. What kind of volunteers? I think, I always tell people, when a volunteer is coming, it means we are using resources. It helps us stretch our resources. It's having people come and stuff envelopes mean we don't have to pay somebody to stuff envelopes. Having people come and do data entry or work in the office or produce local television shows. Those are all adding to our resources within the community that we can use and helps us stretch every dollar that we have that much farther. And I know, it's great to have them come in because it gives them a reason to come and be engaged with the community.
And quite frankly, many of our programs wouldn't be able to survive without the volunteers who help support the programs and help provide services. So we very much value our volunteers. They play an integral part in our community and in our organization. And we would welcome anyone who is interested in volunteering. Give me a call. 499-0524, extension 750, and you can speak to me directly, and I'll talk to you about various opportunities that may be available to you.
You can talk to Bonnie about volunteering with the Ombudsman program, with money management, with Shine, with in the office, in meal sites, and delivering meals, whatever works for your schedule. But I think people find it very rewarding, and it's a great way to stay in touch with the community. So I want to thank Amanda and Bonnie for being with us today, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.
Been out till 2:45. Would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Dum 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 dum. You'll be